Hey everyone, this is Adam. I'm back to talk to everybody about a couple things. First off, how I prepare my SPY chart or whatever index you're looking at on a weekly basis. You can notice I've got no lines on this screen. I'm starting completely from scratch, and I want to do this process with everyone. And this is for the week beginning May 9th. However, this process is something that I do pretty much every week, and it's transferable to any week and any stock or index. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at multiple time frames. Number one, so you can see here I'm on SPY. I'm looking at the weekly time frame, and so from a general perspective, you know. Key levels that you get are going to be more relevant. They're going to be stronger the higher the time frame. So if I find a really good level that I get a lot of agreement on a weekly time frame, I'm going to be very convicted about that level. So for example, you can notice exactly where we closed is a very significant level. I would say about 411. I'll move it up there. And why do I say that? Because we get this body here, this bottom of this wick, bottom of this body. We get a wick here, and kind of the body slash wick here. Also the wick and close to the body here, about where we close the week. So I'm noticing, this is a pretty tough area to get through, and I'm finding agreement over a weekly time frame, which is great. It's a super big time frame. I know that I'm gonna have pretty big conviction in this level as being strong. You can tell as we're looking at the visible range, volume profile here. It's a very thick area here up to about 419. So in fact, what I'm going to do is mark the top of this as well. So I'm going to go with about, I'll move it up here to about 419. Love to stick to the round numbers because the psychological numbers will have a big impact. In fact, I could possibly move it up to cover the bottom of this wick over here, which would be at the low of 419.46. Now it looks good because we get that, but I think I might prefer just the 419 level. For now, we can keep it here, and once we dig into some lower time frames, we can kind of get an idea. I'm also going to put one down here because we get sort of this wick, this wick as well. So from a weekly perspective, there's probably not too much that you're going to see, but there's some that you can mark just to get started. So a question that I get a lot is what makes a level a key level? What's the difference between an intermittent level and a key level, right? Because you could put 30,000 lines on this chart, and usually mine ends up looking like that by the end of the week. And what makes a level a key level, a significant level? There's many pivots. There's countless pivots. You can find infinite of them. But what makes one very significant to me? What should make one very significant to you? That's kind of another thing that I want to discuss briefly in this video. So again, what I see here, multiple agreements over a large time frame. That's great. To me, that says, okay, that this will be, and it's kind of around a round number. We'll see if 419 or 419.45 is better, but for now, I'm going to keep that. And then I also really like, really like, in fact, I'm going to get rid of this one because it's just clutter. 411, perfect. It's a round number. Got all this agreement over here. You notice we have this huge volume profile gap down to about 390. So I am going to put a little target over here, one that just crosses this body and this wick. I assume we'll get some daily agreement in there, but I do want to acknowledge how crazy this gap could be. I will also put another one here just to mark where the gap begins, knowing that the gap will then end down here at, let me see the exact top, 439.46. The bottom here being 398.14. So for me, this is good right now. Now we'll move into, in fact, actually, I'll put some more to the upside just in case. What I'm seeing, the body here, wick here, wick here. I'm happy about that, and then I'll give myself another one up here because it looks like we got a nice agreement. Looks all right. up there. I don't love it, but maybe I'll go with this because then we get kind of all four of these. We get that body, we get that over there. So now what I'm going to do is move into the daily chart. And a tip that a lot of people do is the levels from different time frames, they'll make them different colors. That's not one of my personal preferences on things to do, because if I see too many colors, it just confuses me. And to me, colors honestly don't mean anything. It's just I just like to see lines. I don't want to be thinking about, oh, this color means that. But I do know that that's a tip that helps a lot of people. So if you think that's something that could help you, feel free to do so. I'm going to look at the daily. I'm probably going to adjust this one down probably to 419 like I figured I might. Yeah, because I get these wicks, these. I feel good about that. I like this for, in fact, I'm going to make it there. 425.85 looks great. 430 looks very solid. In fact, I might raise it just a tad. Yep. Maybe to 430.55. This one I do like. I know that I could maybe lower it a little bit to about 409.50 down here. And that could be its own level, which I think is the one that I just had on the chart. I'm going to add it, and then I'll realize, I'll say, okay, I can subtract it if I need to. I have that one, and then I have these. So we're going to need to go back here to really see where the agreements come in and how do we want to maybe toggle these back and forth. So here I'm seeing that this 430.55 does get a good amount of respect here. Here as well. I think I'm going to add one here at about 431.90. Yeah, that one looks great to me just because of this, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's enough to give me some conviction there. Now, what I want to do is say, okay, which of these are the most significant? Now, I don't want a huge $8 gap in between my levels. I'm not going to say, oh, well, I bought because it broke 411. I'm just targeting 419. That's a little too big of a gap right there. So I'm going to definitely look to find some pit stops along the way. I think that, I'm obviously going to zoom in here. So as far as significant levels, this one seems to be very key. This one seems to be very key. In fact, I'm going to move this just a little. 410.90. Yeah, we get a lot of agreement there. A lot. Yep, that one's great. This one, I think, can be adjusted. I'll go with 412.75. And then it does get pretty choppy, a little bit thick in here. I don't love any of these levels, and because I don't, I'm just gonna consider that sort of chop zone. I will keep this one here just because the top of the wick. If I see an outlier wick, I'm gonna keep it. And it does get a couple agreements in here, but nothing too crazy. I do like this one. There. I'm going to go with 417.35 there. And then here, 419. I'll put another one up here to mark that gap. And then the gap being filled up to here, probably 427, or sorry, 420.7. So that's fine. To the upside, I think those are some pretty solid moves. I mean, an $8 move on SPY is possible in a day. Futures are gapping down at the moment, but we all know that can very well reverse in the middle of the night. So not going to alter the theme of this video just because of the way that futures are behaving right now. And if it doesn't, it's fine. We'll be prepared for the downside just as much. So I'm going to go here, the body, the wick body right up there. And then I think next I'm going to add just a couple more, maybe, yep, right here. And you can see just getting the same type of agreement to the downside there. So now that we've got some pretty solid daily levels set here, I want to go into the hourly and take a look at more recent levels that we're seeing. So it's going to be a little bit tougher to analyze what we're getting here. I'll zoom in. Now, I don't love the hourly chart sometimes. So let me get to the 15-minute. So what I'm seeing here on the 15-minute, I'm seeing that we're getting a good amount of respect up at that 425.50 or the 425.85 level. We're getting a solid amount of respect, support and resistance respect here around 420. 419 doesn't really stick out in a huge way. I would think I should maybe lower it down, maybe below 419, but nothing really sticking out like crazy. I'll keep what I have because I know I trust it and I like it. I do like the 417.35 level because we're getting a good amount of agreements over, since the beginning of May. And again, I'm only looking back a few days just to really get an idea on maybe where some wicks landed, not really focusing too much on the hourly chart because the hourly chart is condensing these 15-minute wicks these 15-minute candles into four of them making up one. So I like to really use the 15 because I think it just paints a better picture, if I'm being honest. It shows me more of the personality of what's actually going on. So here, this one is one that I'm definitely going to want to raise just to catch more of these, the tops here. I think that one is very significant. And then I get down here, I'm going to move this to about 410.70 to catch more. And you can see why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's just the same process. I'm going to move this down as well because you notice I want to get more of that, and then over here I want to get this. I'm going to keep this one here at about 405.50 just because I want it to be the bottom down there. I know it's below the recent day lows, and then it's just above the recent or the lows on May 2nd. So I'm pretty happy with the way that these look. I know that Thursday and Friday had a lot of wicks, so it was kind of a more difficult one to play. So there's no real clear direction on the 15-minute. I mean, the hourly wouldn't be any better, but we kind of, from a general perspective, and I'm going to zoom back out and just talk here for a minute, but from a general perspective, taking these charts that are obviously very important, that have a lot of levels that you need to make sure you're familiar with, taking them from weekly, daily, and then get down into the nitty-gritty levels and find out where those pivots are in the last few days, but use the broader time frames to help you kind of guide yourself. Use those to say, okay, this is the key level that I know it should be around, and then maybe when you dig in a little bit deeper and you find something within 15 cents, you can say, okay, I know that there's just a key level around here anyways, because it has that multiple time frame continuity. So, I usually start out broad, go narrow, and the reason for that is it's very, very important that you take into account all of the possible outcomes, all of the possible possible levels, trends, because if you're just hyper focused on a 15-minute or an hourly, then there's no way that you can possibly see something on a bigger time frame. So it's just a very good practice to often zoom out, take a look at the broader time frames, because you don't want a level to sneak up on you that, okay, if you're looking only over the past few weeks, you're not noticing it. But then, if you zoom out and you say, oh, wow, this, 3 months ago, this was a huge level. That's why it's behaving like that, even though I didn't expect it. So always wise to start, zooming out, take everything in, and then kind of narrow it down, toggle it back and forth. It's all just trial and error. So I hope everyone enjoys this video. Hope you took something from it, and feel free to let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see in the future.